Hey everybody, so this is the image that we'll be making today in Photoshop. It's an image of my head with a helmet. I did it as a 3-color stencil, as you can tell. It's black, gray, and white. I took this photo, I turned it into a black and white, and then I did a contrast levels adjustment on it to make it to where I needed it to be. As you can see, I'm only selecting the portions that are actually important to the image, leaving out the background, and I didn't even use the whole neck because the neck just looked weird and too long. I did go around the straps, and because it's black on black, sometimes you have to make the best adjustment you can and just make a good decision. A lot of this really is art. You have to redesign what you see so that it looks right in a vector image or a stencil such as this. Now I made a solid layer black, and then I dropped the opacity so that I could see where I had the black at, which were the borders, but then I could still see around, like the ears and that kind of stuff. And I started to select different things, like I redid the helmet there, made a new layer, and then I also dropped the opacity on white after I made it a solid. Here I'm going back to cut out the holes with the in the helmet, the vents, and so I use the pen tool, I make some adjustments there, and then of course I go and I make it into a selection and delete it. Now you can see I don't really have a face if I put the black on solid, so now I'm going back to not only make my face, but I realized that the helmet looked weird without this definition of texture or 3D gapping there. So I put that in, and then I'm doing the glasses because they're a prominent feature on the face as well. Now here you don't really see the inset of the glasses, but as you can tell, if you don't put the inset, it looks weird. So I go back here and I'm putting the inset, the actual lenses of the glasses, and then to give it a little bit more realistic detail, I go back and I'm actually doing the shadows or the reflections of the glasses to make it look a little bit more like somebody real. Now the idea wasn't to make this too real. That wasn't my idea at all. You'll see that I went ahead and did the mouth, but I'll use that later. I kept that selection. Good thing to remember is that every time I make a new pen tool selection, I'm actually making a new pen tool selection layer as well, so that I don't keep erasing the same one that I'm making. That way I can go back and trim up anything I need to by turning them into a selection and then hitting delete on top of each layer. Now each one of these colors that you see are selections, like the white, the black, and now the gray that I'm doing here for the shadows. I did all of that on different selections, and I also put it on different layers, so that as you can see I just deleted the mouth. Now that's cleaned up. Around the outside of the face was cleaned up. Realized I needed some detail on the nose, so there I go. And here you have the final image of my face. A couple of things that I noticed were that, well, first off, the definition of the helmet wasn't there, so I went back and turned that gray, and then I had to go back and clear out the vent, and now you have the end of my selection there.